What if I told you that disease is not the result of misfortune, of poor genetics, or of the body failing due to old age? What if I told you disease is actually a sign of great health? That it means your body is going through the natural healing process as it purges and cleans itself of all of our toxic foods, our toxic surroundings, our toxic thoughts and emotions. First, I want to welcome you back or welcome you to the channel if you're new. If you're enjoying this content, please give this video a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button. It really helps my channel out. And drop a comment as well if you feel called. Let me know what kind of healing that you are experiencing right now, or if there's any kind of content you would like to see moving forward. Now, if you're drawn to this video, maybe you've experienced some things over the past 4 years or so that's caused you to start to question, to say something's not quite right about this story we're being told or the solutions we're being sold. And in spite of all this pain and suffering that humanity has endured, I think that one of the very positive takeaways is that people have really started to ask questions and think for themselves, and this is a great thing. Now, maybe you and your family or your friend group, it's made you somewhat of an outcast. You've been labeled a conspiracy theorist or a quack. But I want you to know that you are not alone. There are many others out there just like you, and there have been for hundreds of years, in fact. What people don't realize, I think, is that in the late 1800s, early 1900s, the argument had not yet been settled about the nature of disease and what causes it. There was an open debate amongst scientists and health practitioners. People had free speech to voice their opinions and their arguments just as it should be. But today we've only been told one side of this story. The side that we know of believe that disease was caused by these tiny, unobservable particles called viruses, which to this day, science has actually never isolated an individual virus that conclusively proves their existence. And they believe that these tiny viruses replicate, they completely hijack and take over our body, and they make us feel miserable, all for the fun of it. This camp also maintained that food and our overall health have nothing to do with the presentation of disease. They were proponents of the theories that we've come to know very well today, like the protein theory, that if we want to be big and strong, we have to eat animal flesh in order to build muscle. The calorie model, that the body runs completely off of heat energy, and if we want to have enough energy output, we have to eat enough calories going in. Essentially, the body is only able to put out the equivalent of what you give it. You can only rebuild the body by what you put into it. So if you're not in optimal health, they said it's because you need more food, more nutrients, or even worse, that you need more drugs that these people just so happen to sell to the public. But what we haven't been told is there was this whole other side of scientists, natural health practitioners who believe that the human body was this intelligent and miraculous creation, that each individual is intimately connected to the planet and to every other being on this planet. And if you put the body in an environment that's conducive to healing, the body heals and regenerates itself. And if we were functioning optimally as a human species, living in harmony with the earth, that the human body could operate as this self-sustaining machine with no dysfunction and no deficiencies. They believe that disease, more than anything, was the result of our dysfunctional eating habits, our lifestyles, our toxic environment, and that disease was nothing more really than the body's natural healing response as it cleans itself. It detoxified of all the foreign substances, the energies that are harmful to the body long term. They thought also that eating was not so much about what we put into the body, but it's more about what we don't put in, that it isn't about the raw nutrients that we eat and consume. It's about eating foods that promote deep cleansing and allow the body to heal itself naturally. In fact, they said the body self-regenerates most effectively when we're in a state of non-eating or fasting. Just like every animal in nature knows instinctively that if you're sick or injured, you stop eating until you're either healed or dead. This is how it works in nature. Now, we all know which theory out of these two prevailed. Was it an honest mistake? Was it deliberate suppression? I will let you decide on your own. But it's both captivating and kind of heartbreaking to think about what a different world we could be living in if the other model had won out. But this is where we find ourselves, and this is what we have to accept, is that we live in this highly toxic, contaminated world. We breathe polluted air, we drink poisoned water, we eat food that isn't human food, and all these poisons that accumulate in the body, they have to go somewhere. And yes, the human body is miraculous in its ability to heal and eliminate the things that it doesn't want. But at some point, too much becomes too much. And so what happens is all these waste products, these chemicals and heavy metals, pesticides, mold, all these things start to overload the system. It becomes too much. And in addition to that, the food we eat makes the body highly acidic and creates these fermented byproducts, this mucus that can't be eliminated from the colon and the intestines. It clogs up the entire digestive system, kind of like sewage in a pipe that starts to build up along the sides and it cakes on. It gets stuck there super hard, nothing can remove it, and it just builds, it accumulates. And so it's been estimated that the average person has over 10 pounds of waste in their digestive system that has been building up for decades and decades, since early childhood. Now, the body is very, very intelligent, and it has this amazing ability to keep functioning and to kind of shuttle these toxins around and manage them by sending them to other parts of the body where they're going to do the least amount of damage to the system. But eventually it kind of hits this tipping point where the body goes, this is too much. If I allow this to keep happening, this is going to kill me. And so what it will do is it will trigger this detoxification response. It's kind of like the cleaning cycle on your dishwasher. The body will say, okay, I got this. I know what to do. I'm going to knock you down and out for a few days. You're going to feel very weak, very fatigued, very tired, and I'm going to eliminate all these poisons from your body that are preventing you from reaching your highest potential. And it does this through mucus and phlegm production, through coughing, through sweating, by vomiting or emptying your bowels very violently. It gets the fluids in your body moving and draining the blood and the lymphatic system. It starts to move all these things through heat, through trembling, through shaking, sweating, and your body, it doesn't feel good when this happens. Your whole body aches a lot of times. Basically, your body's doing everything it can to get that stuff moving and get it moving out, because essentially this is an all hands on deck process. The body is saving your life, really. It has your long-term interests in mind, even if it means temporary pain and discomfort. And the mistake we make is in saying that I don't like the way I feel, so there must be something wrong with me, right? How do I get rid of this discomfort as quickly as possible? And so we look for that magic pill that's going to take away the discomfort. And so what we do a lot of the times is we ingest these manufactured chemicals called medicine that essentially stops the detoxification process. And this is one of the biggest arguments in favor of medicine, is that it works, that I took the cough medicine and my cough stopped. So it's obviously effective at what it does. But what we don't understand is what we're actually doing. The state of disease is actually a sign of great health. It means the body is working and detoxifying the way it should. It's running its natural process. But we make the decision to interrupt that process. Have you ever opened your dishwasher when it's in the middle of a cleaning cycle and water and soap splashes all over the place as soon as you open the door, and then right then and there it stops cleaning? It's stuck. It can't finish the process. This is exactly what we do when we take medicine, because medicine is a synthetic chemical substance that generally is very toxic to the body. So as soon as we ingest that pill, the body says, whoa, what's going on? Stop the healing. We've got a bigger problem here. There's this poison in the system now that we need to take care of and eliminate immediately. And so just like that, it stops the detox. It stops the healing process. The headache goes away, the cough or the stuffy nose seem to get better, the irritable sensations in your stomach stop, and we go, wow, that medicine really is effective. But what we don't realize is we've just interrupted a very important process that the body was taking care of itself. And so when we stop the process right in the middle, we ensure that it must be carried out to completion at some point in the future. We will get sick again, or even worse, the toxic load will become so bad and so severe that it will manifest as this very debilitating or life-threatening illness. The body says, hey, look, I've done everything I can to try, but I keep getting stopped right in the middle of my healing. So what else can I do but to try to shuttle these toxins away to this one corner of the body and packages them up so they won't damage the rest of the system? This is what we would consider a tumor or a cyst. Or the body says, hey, why are you surprised that all this waste is depositing in your joints, in what we would call something like arthritis, or that these heavy metals accumulate in the brain and cause what we call neurodegenerative disease? Now, the other argument people will present in favor of the virus theory of disease, of sort of catching colds, is they'll say, my family member or my roommate got sick, and then I got it too, so I must have caught it from them. But I want you to think of it in another way. Imagine you and I are living in a similar environment. We're exposed to similar toxins. Maybe our drinking water is highly contaminated with, say, heavy metals or pharmaceutical residues, and you and I are both drinking that water. So it starts overloading the body's systems. And at some point, your body says, I need to clean this out. So it starts this cleansing process, and you start to present with all these symptoms that we might call the flu or a common cold. And humans are a very tribal species. We rely on the well-being of the whole for the survival of each individual and the species itself. And so we're always communicating with one another in a non-physical, sort of energetic way. And so when your body starts this healing process, it starts sending out this information to the individuals around you in your community, saying, hey, there's this toxin in our environment. I'm currently in the process of eliminating it, and it would benefit the entire community and the entire species if you went through this process too and upgraded. And so my body picks up on that non-physical communication. I have that toxin in my system as well, and so I start the detoxification process. Now, maybe our third roommate is eating an organic diet, and she sources her water from a local spring, so she's not drinking the tap water. And so she doesn't have that level of toxicity that we have. And even though her body is also receiving that communication, that information, the same one that I received from you, she doesn't present with symptoms. Now, the sort of epidemiological observation that we would make is that you got sick, and then two days later, I got sick, and our roommate did not get sick. But there are many possible reasons for this epidemiological observation. It doesn't mean that I caught it from you and that our roommate she just had good luck or a better immune system. All we can say for sure is that two of us showed signs of healing symptoms and one of us did not. Women experience this all the time when their menstrual cycles sync up with other women in their community that they're living with. But it'd be crazy for them to go around saying, hey, look, I caught my period from my roommate. It was just nature doing what nature does through this invisible exchange of information. So the other hot topic that I wanted to touch upon in the world of disease research is the role of genetics. Are certain people genetically fated to get certain types of cancers and degenerative conditions? For a long time, we thought this was the case, but today, science has proven that we do not live in a world of genetic determinism. It's instead the environment that determines how the gene expresses, and this is called epigenetics. Basically, there's about 100,000 different proteins that the human body produces. So we would expect at least 100,000 different genes. Because if we wanted to make 100,000 products, we would need 100,000 blueprints. But scientists were shocked to discover that there are only about 20,000 genes in the human genome, which means it would be impossible to manufacture 100,000 different types of proteins unless different genes were modulated and kind of switched on and off by the outer environment. And keep in mind that the outer environment not only includes our direct physical surroundings, our food, all the toxic substances in our modern world, it also includes the thoughts we think, the emotions we feel, the people we surround ourselves with. These are all part of the external environment of every cell. And if you follow people like Dr. Joe Dispenza, you'll know that he is huge on this content. This is how people can reverse lifelong conditions and cure, quote, incurable diseases basically overnight by rewiring their brain and changing the way they think, the way they feel about themselves. And I got to experience this myself last year when I went to Dr. Joe's week-long retreat in Denver. And by the end of the week, there were people standing up on the stage and telling their story about how when they showed up to the retreat, they had MS, lifelong conditions, debilitating, inoperable tumors, and how just a few days they no longer had these conditions. Or when they showed up, they couldn't stand. They couldn't get up out of their wheelchair. And a few days in, they were walking on their own. It was incredible. And when these people got up and they told their story, there was, I'm not kidding, there wasn't a dry eye in the room. And the thousands and thousands of people sitting in the ballroom realized that if this was possible for one person, it was possible for all of us. Miracles are possible for everyone. And I think this was one of the most inspiring parts of this whole retreat, is being in this collective, this group of thousands of people, where everybody had this attitude of empowerment. Everyone there understood that we're not victims of our circumstances. We are powerful creators of our own reality, our own health, our own destiny. And this is a big shift from what's been programmed into most of us. We've been taught to be very responsive. We rely on the outer environment to determine how we feel on the inside. And so it's difficult to kind of break from this. It's hard. Change is uncomfortable. It means that we can't make excuses if we're experiencing a lack of health or energy. It means we can no longer call ourselves a victim of our genetics or of our misfortune. When I made my big health shift, I know the last thing I wanted to do was give up my Chick-fil-A spicy chicken sandwiches and my Cinnabon cinnamon rolls. But I realized, isn't it so much more empowering to know that I'm in total control of my health, that you and you alone are responsible for your well-being, and that you have everything you need to heal and create the life you want right now? And so this is the message that I want to give to you today, is that your health is in your hands. Don't let the world tell you what you can and can't do. Don't let some commercial on TV convince you that you need this one drug to improve your quality of life. Don't let some doctor in a white coat, who is probably more unhealthy than you, tell you that you only have 4 months to live. I did that for a long time. I relied on what the doctor told me, that I'd be on medications the rest of my life. And believe me, it's not a good place to be. It's not an empowering place. Know that you have a choice to believe or not believe what you hear and what you're told, and that the only person with the power to make that choice is you. And so your body is miraculous. It does everything it does to heal and level itself up. Every cell going through millions and millions of chemical reactions every second. All the 30 to 100 trillion cells in your body, each one communicating with all the rest in this perfect symphony of healing. And all it wants to do is keep you here on this planet so you could live your best life. And no matter how much we judge it, no matter how much we neglect the body, no matter how much we mistreat it, all it does is love us back. It's so resilient. And in my estimation, this is really the truest expression of unconditional love. And so the next time you're experiencing any kind of symptoms of healing, just take a moment to say thank you to your body for healing you. The next time you get sick, remember your body is trying to save your life in the big picture of things. And it's just a paradigm shift to move from fear to gratitude and appreciation. when I was going through my own healing crisis, I hated what I was seeing. I was inflamed, I was uncomfortable, I was getting all these acne and skin breakouts all over my face and my chest and my back, and I had a terrible relationship with my body. I looked around at everyone else and thought, why isn't anyone else dealing with what I'm dealing with? And what I realize now is that if I had just loved my body as much as my body loves me, I would have probably healed a whole lot faster. So now when I see a pimple pop out on my forehead, I look in the mirror and I go, thanks body for pushing all these toxins out of my skin and up-leveling my health. And so this is what I tell people, is that it's really about entering into a relationship, a healthy relationship with your body. It's really no different than a relationship with another person. If you were in a relationship with someone else and all you did was judge and berate and neglect this other person, they wouldn't respond to you very positively either. But this is what we do a lot of times with our body, and then we're shocked when we don't have the health and the vitality and the beauty that we want. And so understand that when your body is expressing symptoms, it's just the body's own way of communicating to you. It's trying to tell us that something's got to change. Something in the way that our eating patterns, our daily habits, the environment we're putting ourselves in, the relationships that are draining us. It's just the body talking to us. It's saying something needs to change. So if we want to get to a point where we're not sick, or where we remain healthy and vigorous well into old age, then we have to start to listen to this body's natural feedback system and make the appropriate lifestyle adjustments. And the best way I've found to listen to the body is through something called muscle testing or applied kinesiology. This has changed my life. It's changed the relationship I have with my body. Essentially, you're bypassing the conscious brain and getting information directly from the subconscious mind, which is kind of like a supercomputer. It holds all the information. It knows every chemical process that's going on in every cell of your body. It knows every imbalance that exists in your body that needs to heal. And we can tap directly into this information with muscle testing. I do have a free video course on this that teaches you exactly how to do it and to change your relationship with your body. I will put that link in the description for it. You can also just look up some good how-tos online. There's plenty of great resources out there. It's becoming a much more popular modality. But either way, just know that your body and your subconscious hold the map to your healing. When you set the intention to heal fully, your higher self already has plotted the course to get you there. There may be ups and downs, there may be days where you feel better than others, but all you need to do is follow your inner guidance in the present moment. And when you start to listen to the body, your relationship with it will completely change. It will be more of a two-way relationship where the body knows that it's heard, it's understood, it's acknowledged, it's appreciated, and your body will be so happy that you are cooperating with it rather than working against it. There will just be this joy that starts to emanate from every single cell of your body, and this deep knowing in your soul that no matter what happens, you are well and that all is well. And so that's today's video. Thanks so much for joining me, guys. If you are interested in some additional resources, check the description down below. If you're looking for one-on-one coaching, I do have openings for that as well. I will put the information for that down below. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time.